first ever played Swan in Australia. Couldn't have told you that. But this is still the old part of town. Going over the Grand Union Canal.
Postman Pat?
Hey?
Postman Pat?
Actually, what's this? Right, what's that?
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, pink punters.
Holy moly.
Jesus.
See if I'm making a statement.
Yeah.
Are you videoing this?
Yeah.
Oh, well done. Thank you. Because this is like the approach back to my house now. It's only like a couple more minutes down the road.
We got a vlog. It's the last day.
Hey.
We got a vlog. Say hello, Josephina.
Hello, Josephina. Looking for the Stoke Road. I don't know whether you got any of that story of it. Bletchley Arms Hotel. Doesn't matter, I can tell. So this is the hotel I definitely remember going in there down the side, round the back. It was called the Bletchley Arms. They've changed its name to Captain Ridley's Shooting Party. Anyway, we're going back to Bletchley Park now. I'm just going to drive up the main street if we can, to 20 zone. Because this used to be in my main street. I used to walk down here over night time with a hammer in my pocket because it was such a violent place. You had to be able to defend yourself.
What happened? You hit some black ice.
Very first time we came here, I would have been 12 years old, and we were arriving in town, and my dad was driving. I forget what sort of car it was. It would come back to me. And we're under this bridge here. It must have been particularly cold. You know, the cold air must have been, and it was black ice. You couldn't see it. It was black ice. Next thing I know, we're spinning around under this very bridge that we're about to go under. Down here. Because he was looking for the turn, he was looking to see where he had to come to work next day or something. Right, just down here. Span around and didn't hit a thing, just span around and stopped.
Huh.
Now, where I've got to go is somewhere around here. Selwyn Grove. These are all been built over the Bletchley Park grounds and the old high school or grammar school that I used to go to. So how do you get into Bletchley Park? Maybe it was the next one. I don't mind, I'm having a little wander around. Which is I was happy to drive still until we decide to leave. Because I don't want to be too dictatorial.
We're in Bletchley Park.
Yeah. And you remember the movie about Turin, and these are all the places where the WAFs and everybody used to live before, and they went into, we're going to come around to the main house in a moment, I hope. There it is over there. I'd forgotten, well, I don't remember any of this complexity of it. It might have well still been secret in 1969 to 70 when I was here. You can see the turret of the old house there, but we can't seem to get there. And that's consistent with... You can't pick it up on Google Maps either. There's the National Museum of Computing. They should call it the Turin Centre, shouldn't they? Well, that's about as close as you can get to the old house, and anyway, you can see pictures of it on the internet. But obviously we can't get there. In fact, I would call that still pretty high bloody security stuff.
Yeah.
See the windows over the front of it over there?
I think this guy's talking to you.
So, this is the old water mill where you weren't actually allowed to fish in the mill pond. But there used to be a stream, I thought, off the river Ousel, which is, it's coming in from the other direction. And we used to fish in the... So we are allowed to walk through here. Say hello, Josephina.
Hello, Josephina.
So this is the Ousel River. Didn't used to catch big fish. In fact, that's a little pond. It's like the pre-mill pond retention bit of water there. And then we see the concrete bit of the mill race here. This bridge wasn't here. That's the old mill race. And this is the outflow, and we can't get through. It's all privately fenced off now. Have to go to Google Maps to have a look at it. So this is now all public park here on the right, since it's, I don't know how it all worked, but when I was here as a boy, you always used to feel like you were trespassing when you came over the humpback bridge up here. You can see how close, well, that's the humpback bridge that goes over the Grand Union Canal, and those bushes down there are where the River Ousel is. And then our house is sort of just the other side of the Grand Union Canal, so we used to have good fun here with the water sports. So the plan is down onto the towpath. We go down onto this towpath here, this way, and under the bridge. God, it's a long time since I was here. The canal water is renowned for being extremely toxic, and you'd see the odd dead animal floating in it, a sheep or a dog or something. And so we were under strict instructions not to swim in it, for very sensible reasons. None of these houses over there were here. I used to walk right the way along that side of the river, that side of the canal. And I remember that stand of trees there. Maybe those houses were there, and that stand of trees was as far as I could get legit. And I used to have to sneak along in front where you weren't supposed to go. That seems to ring more of a bell.
It's sort of nice having a backyard on the water, but it's sort of very nasty.
How do you mean?
The water's just so nasty.
Yeah, it is. And that little pool area there, I remember fishing in there one day with a mate. All we caught was sticklebacks. It's a winding hole. That's right. That's a winding hole for canal boats to turn around. They come along, they stick their nose in there, and then they reverse back out. It's the only way the long boats can turn around. And then that's a shortcut through to the river, which is just across that next paddock. These houses definitely were not here. That was all farmland. And so the story is, my brother was not in one of those top windows, but next one down, with an air rifle. And they were quite lawful to have an air rifle. And he was shooting at little bolt holes, little nuts on the side of the canal here. And the guy walking a dog along the towpath here got shitty and actually went round, saw which house it was, and went round banging on the door. "You were shooting at me," he said. My brother said, "No, I wasn't shooting at you. If I was shooting at you, I would have hit you." So just back past the winding hole, back to the Humpback Bridge. I won't bother walking down to the river, but it would have changed a little. And here we are. There's only one house now that I haven't been to, and that's down in Addleston. Was there for a year while my dad did studies at the Art of Movement studio, and that was my last year in primary school in Addleston. So I was there from when I was 10 to 11 years old. Took the 11 plus there, and from Addleston went to Jersey, started high school in Jersey, which I'll be on a plane to tomorrow now. I just filled in all my details so I can change camera. So this morning at Milton Keynes, I've been filling in my forms to get into Jersey, which fly out tomorrow. I got these stack of forms. I printed out my Australian vaccination certificate. I printed out my French pass sanitaire. I printed out my French government registered positive COVID, and I printed out my English entry form permission, and I printed out my English registered negative COVID test, and I filled in the Jersey form and said that I've got my double vax, and I also said I had a booster by the English authorised experimental system, which is not quite right, but it's the only thing I could choose to fill in the form, because I want to be able to prove that I've had COVID and had symptoms and have recovered from it, and therefore fit in with the current UK exclusionary rules, and don't need to have a booster in UK or Jersey. So I've had all those printed out at the hotel. They're very kind to do that for me. And I got hard copies, so when I land in Jersey, hopefully I'll find someone who understands. So, got the canal there with the canal boat, where we were along the canal path a minute ago. All this was farm paddock. Well, it's not that much, is it? Because it was from that fence to there that we used to sneak across the farmer's paddock with the canoes, jumping our back fence, and that's the house there, but it's had an extension built in the roof. So this is a back way into Bletchley Park where my dad used to work, and he used to be able to drive in that way. They got the gate out for security. This is one of the back ways into my school, and I had heard it had been demolished, but I wasn't sure. But these houses up here, they're built on my rugby pitch, because my school was a grammar school. We didn't play soccer, and a lot of the kids at school hated the idea because they preferred soccer. And they'd say, I remember them constantly saying, "Why can't we play soccer like real kids?" And so on the right hand side, it's where the school fence started. One of those, used to be one of those cyclone wire fences. And where these houses are was where I learned to play rugby. Played for the school team. We always got thrashed because we used to play against the private schools who sort of specialised in it. And I don't think, well, it's hard to remember winning a game. So, last night in the UK, apart from when I might fly back from Jersey here, I'm looking at my bag here. Well, actually, it could be Planet of the Apes, but my initial thoughts were the unhappy robot in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.